Yogi Clan, welcome back to Yogi's Cycle Service and part number 4 of the primary rebuild. So what have we done so far? Episode number 1, we took off the primary, we disassembled it, took it all the way down, including taking off the inner primary. Video number 2, we replaced all the seals on the primary. We inspected our transmission shift lever seal. We inspected the drive pulley and we checked out the compensator. Video number 3, we put it all back together. And we're hoping that we don't have any leaks, and that leads us up to today. Video number 4, putting the tire back on, putting the wheel back into the bike. Now that everything is put back together, mud flaps put back on, we're gonna put this back on the bike and get Miss Piggy back on the road. Tomorrow is Iron Saturday, and we wanna ride it to Iron Saturday. First thing you need to do is just put the tire back in. Now that we have it centered, let's start bringing this bike back down. Okay, once I start getting it lower, let's check and see if we can get this belt put on our pulley and down a little more. We want to make sure before we get this too low and close this hole off that we put our spacer, get our spacers in there. Spacer is pretty darn dirty, so before we do anything, let's go ahead and get a little brake clean out. See if maybe we can clean that up a little bit. That looks a whole lot better. Belt is on. We are a little low now. One spacer is in the hole. From this side, we have one spacer that goes in over here and our brake caliper. First thing I want to do, go ahead and ever so gently separate these pads, trying not to mar them up. Get this arm seated. Hopefully everything lines up and we can start putting our axle in place. Start getting that ready to go into the hole. And there it is. All right, now we've hit the other side. Let's go line up the spacer on the other side. Let's lift it up to where the axle can slide through it. Okay, now the axle is hitting the frame. So we're gonna come down. There we go. Now comes the important part that I wanted to make sure that I showed you. So with the axle in, you're gonna put this spacer on. You can put your washer on. You can put your nut on. And I'm just gonna get it to where it's hand tight there. Okay, then we're gonna screw this in. I'm gonna tighten this down to about where I think it was beforehand. So I can kind of see the mark right there. I don't know if you can see this. From where that plate used to sit, you can kind of see the outline of where it used to be. So we're gonna tighten it up to that mark there. Should be right about there. That looks to be about where it was. I'm gonna lift it up and take this pressure off the belt. And we're gonna tighten up the same thing on the other side. Okay, it feels kind of tight on the belt in my opinion. So just to make sure, we are going to use this. We did get this off of Amazon. It's pretty cheap. Belt tension gauge. Okay, so we can put it on the belt there. We can push up to 10 pounds and see the deflection on the belt. It does have a scale on here, each one of these, I believe, being 1/8 of an inch. Spec for this model year is 5/16 to 3/8. Not much room to play. So I'm gonna put it up here. So I'm gonna roll this up to the 3. When I push up on that belt, I wanna see it disappear here, flush this, be flush with this right here. And there's a graduated scale on here also that's 10 pounds. So when I push it up to here and that touches there, I know I got 10 pounds. And when I know I have 10 pounds there, then that line should be parallel with that line right here. And that will determine our belt tension. Okay, we are hooked onto the belt. I'm gonna push up till I got 10 pounds. And I've only gone, there's about a quarter. So I think it's a little too tight. A half turn. And we'll do another half. There's 3/8 right there. So a little bit, 3/8 being the max. Push up. Okay, now that's too much. Backed it off too much, so increase it back down 1 turn. Put this on here. So 1, 2, 3/8 is right there. Go up, go up, go up. Okay, that's exactly 3/8, and that's the top end of our tension. So let's go about 1/2 turn. Right there. Try it one more time. Same spot. I use this corner of this mud flap to be like my anchor point, right? So I'm testing this in the same spot every time. Okay, so we're going to go up to 10, and that is just a little bit less than 3/8. Yep. Right there we go. Now, next thing I'm going to do to make sure my tire is centered, because the difference between a Softail and I'm going to want to put this jam nut there just to get it, just to hold this right here. Difference between a Softail and a touring. Let's move this camera so you can see a little easier. Softail, you have this adjustment nut here. Touring bike, you have a cam that sits on here. So as you turn this axle, the cam gets wider and therefore will move this wheel back and forth. But the thing is, on the other side of the bike, it has the exact same matching cam. So you know that as you turn this cam to tighten your belt pressure, that it's aligning both wheels exactly the same. Well, you don't have that on here, and you can adjust this one way, and you can go over to the other side and adjust it also. And if you don't measure it, then in my opinion, your wheel's going to track. It could be off a couple degrees, you know, not drastically. It could be off a couple degrees, and your wheel's tracking, and that could cause a wobble. So here is how I check to make sure that I'm lined up. This is the easy way. So I got the center of my axle right here. I got the center of my nut for the swing arm right here. So I'm going to take my tape measure. I'm going to do what's called cut an inch. All right. So I'm going to put this 1-inch line. I'm not going to use the end of this tape because that will not be consistent. I'm going to cut an inch. So we're going to, for example, so you can see it, we're going to put that 1-inch mark dead center in the middle of that nut right there. And we're going to pull it over to here. And center of this nut, we'll say, is 17 13/16. So cut an inch to center, 17 13/16. So 1/16 over 3/4. Now let's go over to the other side and let's check that. All right, center a nut here, center a nut there. We're going for 17 13/16. And right now we're about 2/16. We're a little bit too long. We're gonna loosen up this jam nut. We're gonna loosen this. Cut an inch. 17 13/16. So we look about right there. So really, to cut an inch here, it's 4 5/16 to the edge of this nut. 4 5/16 to the inside of that. Well, let's check the other side just for comparison. 4 5/16. So we're pretty much equal now. The other thing you can do is, after you've gotten this, is one more test. Move this tire and make sure that belt stays relatively center of that pulley. Well, that belt is pretty centered on that pulley. Jam nut is set. So there's basically 3 different tests that you can use to make sure that that pulley is as centered as you can get it. Spinning the wheel, verifying your belt, but the best test, in my opinion, is the longer measurement you can go, the better. We're just going to double check this measurement now that we've set our nuts in place. 1 to 13/16, and we are dead on the other side. So these are tightened down. That's really it. Only other thing we need to do is set this to torque, which will be 60 pounds on this rear wheel. So we'll go ahead and do that and then put this clip in. We are torqued down. Get this clip on, put my bag on. All right, y'all, I hope you found this series helpful. I will catch you on the next one. Next, we're going to throw a Vulcan Nomad up onto this lift, finish getting the engine rebuilt, get it put back in the bike, get it back to its owner. So you're not going to want to miss that. So stay tuned. Chuck is going to be helping me out with that. And I really look forward to having some more fun in the garage. Say a little prayer for me that we got this fixed and that we're done. And I hope you found this video series helpful. All right, Yogi Clan. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace. The moment of truth. Do we have any leaks? I don't feel any. Let's go get a mirror. I don't see anything. I think we're good. Later.